Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is June 13th, 2025, and we do have an update in regards to Inigo Martinez's injury. Also, looks like there's more delays at the Spotify Camp Nou as Barcelona have requested an extension of their stay at Montjuic. And finally, Juventus have upped their offer for Ronald Araujo. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News Live podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where not only do we discuss Barcelona news like the regular videos, but I also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments out loud, answering your questions, and getting that discussion going. For those of you who will be watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description. Chat is in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion and just get straight to the news. Having said all that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. If you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure to hit the Goal Kits, Get Bag, or Fanatics. If you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure to bet us. All links are down below in the description. If you click on them, you get access to some pretty cool deals and offers. Anyways, let's begin with the news, and we'll start with bad news because, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Inigo Martinez is going to be out for quite some time. Now, we saw Inigo Martinez getting subbed out in yesterday's humiliation of Real Madrid, where Ronald Araujo took his place on the field, and it's been confirmed that Inigo Martinez has suffered a hamstring injury, and as such, he's expected to be out for 5 weeks. Pretty long time, which means he will miss or could potentially miss a total of 8 La Liga matches, 2 Champions League matches, and 1 Copa del Rey matches. So potentially, Inigo Martinez could end up missing a total of 11 matches over the span of 5 weeks. Definitely a big blow for Barcelona, given that, alongside Pau Cubarsí, they have been pretty much formidable in the back line for Barcelona. But hopefully, I wish, Inigo Martinez a speedy recovery. Hopefully his recovery can go much faster and he can, not miss so many matches or so many weeks. Now, speaking of missing matches, Wojciech Szczesny will also miss a match. As you know, he received a red card in yesterday's, again, humiliation of Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup final, and it's been confirmed that he will miss the Copa del Rey match. Now, I thought that because it is the Spanish Super Cup, he would have to miss the next Spanish Super Cup, which is next season, which by then he'll be gone because he's only signed a contract. But apparently, according to the rules, he will actually miss the next Copa del Rey match. And of course, as you know, Barcelona, their second goalkeeper is always the goalkeeper for the Copa del Rey. We saw it against Barbastro, where Szczesny started. So it looks like he will miss in the next Copa del Rey match. We'll see who Hansi Flick will put in his place. Will it be Iñaki Peña? Or is he going to try maybe another goalkeeper like Diego Cochen or Astralaga? My bet will be, of course, on Iñaki Peña because who our opponent is. We were so wrapped up with the whole Spanish Super Cup that we completely forgot that there was a draw to find out who the opponent of Barcelona in the round of 16 is in the Copa del Rey. And well, it's no other than Real Betis. So that's why I say most likely it's going to be Iñaki Peña because we will be facing Real Betis. If it was maybe a third division team, maybe we could see someone like Cochen or Astralaga getting some minutes for the first team. So my guess will be that will be Iñaki Peña. Now, the next Copa del Rey match will be only in 2 days. That's crazy. We just played a final yesterday. And in 2 days, we'll have to play Real Betis on January 15th. In the round of 16 of the Copa del Rey. Now, more news because you might have forgotten also because of the win. But tomorrow, January 14th, Tuesday, January 14th, Joan Laporta will face the press for the first time after the whole Dani Olmo and Pau Victor registration debacle. He's going to explain what happened, or at least try to explain what happened. He'll answer some questions. So definitely I'm going to be watching that press conference. And of course, later on, we'll be making a video to tell you everything that went on. So stay tuned to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell so you can get a notification whenever a new video is uploaded. Because I got to tell you, I'm really looking forward to this. I know a lot of Barcelona fans have already forgotten about all of this because we're all so happy with the win. Well, it wasn't a win. It was a humiliation of Real Madrid, like I already said. But we cannot forget what happened. We cannot forget what happened because it was a big blunder that has cost us 100 million euros. So that's a big one. That's to add to the other blunders, including a 50 million euro commission to Darren Dane for Nike. So just because we're doing well on the field, we cannot forget to hold those in charge of the club accountable. Remember, that's what happened with Bartomeu. We all knew what he was doing. We all knew he was destroying the club. But most fans did not care because we were doing great. We had MSN. We won a treble. So people just ignored it. We can't do that. Now, I'm not saying Laporta's doing the same things in Bartomeu, but he's starting to go down the same path. And we cannot ignore those blunders, those mistakes, that mismanagement, just because we're doing well on the field. So tomorrow, press conference. I look forward to see what John Laporta's explanation will be, and I look forward to see what kind of questions he'll be asked, and of course, what kind of answers he will be given. And I say I look forward to the questions because some of these press conferences, the questions are just absolutely ridiculous. Like they either have nothing to do with the topic or they are so easy. They're like softball. So, what's the greatest club in the world? FC Barcelona. Yeah, let's go. I asked my question. Anyway, so let's do the comment section, and then we will talk about the Spotify Camp Nou, because there are delays, ladies and gentlemen. Mez says Araujo is making a mistake wanting to leave an incredible team with so much potential and hype at the age of 25 in his prime and about to get to play in the Spotify Camp Nou. Just go to a lower league. I think so too. I think it is a mistake because, and again, with all due respect to Juventus, but you don't go from Barcelona to Juventus willingly. You know, there's a difference if you're like, I don't know, your contract expired and Barcelona doesn't want to renew you, or Barcelona doesn't count on you anymore, so you go somewhere else and Juventus happens to want you. Or maybe you're getting older, so again, Barcelona's not looking to keep you, so you go to Juventus. But willingly in your prime, Barcelona tell you are key to their project. They want you to stay. And you pick Juventus. Again, no disrespect to Juventus, but let's be honest. Even if you're a Juventus fan, let's be honest. There's levels to this game, and Barcelona is a level above Juventus. So I think it's a mistake too, but it is what it is, my friend. Beast99 says, Mo, if you get Araujo, can Barca get Kenan Yildiz for a better price? I mean, I don't know. That all depends on the negotiation. It's not like a quid pro quo kind of deal. Two separate deals, two different players. Richard says, Mo, do you think that Inigo's injury and the dominant performance against Madrid yesterday will change Araujo's mind to stay? Could be. And then more news when I talk about Araujo, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But could be. But here's my stance on this. If a player decides, because Araujo had already informed the club through his reps that he wants to leave, right? We covered that in yesterday's video. If a player decides, I want to leave, my mind is made up, because apparently some staff members and teammates approach Araujo and he's like, my mind is made up. So he's made up his mind. He decided to leave. He's informed the club he wants to leave. He's already negotiating with someone else. I say let him leave. Let him leave, because here's the thing: we don't need players who are not sure about playing at the club. We don't. We need players who are committed 100% to the project. And if you don't want to stay, if you're not committed, if you're not convinced, if you have doubts, there's the door. Nothing against Araujo. I love Araujo. I think he is one of the best center backs in Europe. I think he's been phenomenal at Barcelona. I would love for him to stay. But if you have doubts, you have to leave, because we need players who are committed, who want to be at the club, not players who are wishy-washy and have one foot at the door. I mean, Rafinha, right? He had plenty of offers from other clubs who were offering way more money to come to Barcelona. He chose Barcelona. Lewandowski, same thing. Jules Koundé, same thing. Lamine Yamal could go anywhere he wants. All he has to do is just make one quick statement, not even a statement, a quick tweet I want to go to Manchester City. And in the next hour, he would have a contract to go to Manchester City, paying him 10 times what Barcelona can pay him. But he chooses to stay at Barcelona. That's the kind of players we need. Players who want to be at the club, not players who not even wishy-washy or have doubts. He's already made up his mind. He already wants to leave. So let him leave. All right, one more comment, and then we'll get back to the news. But RF says, hey, Mo, hope you're having a good day. Do you think that Barcelona should sell Araujo given Inigo's injury? Pretty much the same answer that I just gave. Brian says, if we sell Araujo, do we going to use that money to bring in another CB? I'm not sure. I mean, we wouldn't need to because we would still have Christensen and Jonathan Taz coming in the summer. So I don't think so. But all right, let's get back to the news. Because we do have a lot to cover, and we are going to talk about Araujo later. So I don't want to, answer all the Araujo questions. And then when we get to the segment, it's like, what's the point? We already covered most of it. But let's get back to the news because, ladies and gentlemen, the delays to the Spotify Camp Nou are confirmed, not officially by the club, because God forbid they give us a clear answer, or God forbid they give us a timeline. But it has been confirmed because Barcelona have officially requested from BSM. BSM is the company that manages the Olympic Stadium, Luis Companys. And Barcelona have submitted an official request to extend the contract with BSM for 1 more month. Now, the current contract to use the Olympic Stadium is until the end of March. And Barcelona have requested to extend it until the end of April, which means we're not going to go back to the Camp Nou until the end of April, potentially again. Because so far, it gave us so many deadlines that I don't even know what's true and what's not. Because originally, we were supposed to go back to the Camp Nou November of last year for the anniversary. We were supposed to celebrate the 125th anniversary at the Camp Nou with a 60% capacity or 60,000 people. Then they told us, no, it's going to be December. We're going to play the last match of against Atletico Madrid at the Camp Nou. And when I say last match of the year or last match before the winter break. Then they told us, no, it's going to be February because UEFA doesn't allow you to change stadiums in the group stages, and it doesn't make sense to play La Liga at the Camp Nou and the Champions League at Montjuic. So it's going to be in February, which is after the group stages of the Champions League. Now, without telling us anything, they have requested an extension of the contract, which means that Barcelona are looking to go back to the Camp Nou by the end of April. So we went from November to December to February, now to April. Now, they're saying from internal sources that Barcelona are hoping to finish the last stretch of La Liga at the Camp Nou, including El Clásico. We do have El Clásico match against Real Madrid. I think that will be very special. We already humiliated them at the Bernabeu. We humiliated them in Saudi. Why not humiliate them at the Camp Nou too? I think, hey, okay, let's do it. Now in April, since the return won't be until the end of April, that means we would have to play Celta Vigo, Mallorca, and Real Betis at Montjuic. Those all 3 home matches during April that were supposed to play at the Camp Nou, but now they're going to play at Montjuic. As far as the Champions League, we would potentially play a semifinal at the Camp Nou if we return by the end of April. And of course, assuming we make it that far in the Champions League, and that won't be a problem because according to UEFA's rules, you're only bound to play at the same stadium in the group stages. So during group stages, you cannot change stadiums. Past that, it's fine. So we could technically play the round of 16 quarterfinals and Montjuic and then play the semifinals at the Camp Nou. That's totally fine according to UEFA's rule. And given, again, that we're staying at the Camp Nou, at Montjuic until the end of April, that means we're also going to play a quarterfinal and a semifinal of the Copa del Rey at Montjuic. So potentially the only matches that we'll be able to play this season is the final few matches of La Liga and a semifinal in the Champions League because, of course, the final, it's a neutral stadium. The same thing for the final Copa del Rey is also a neutral stadium. Now, here's the kicker. The contract, again, with Montjuic is until the end of March. They want to extend until the end of April, but that's it. Beyond May, the Montjuic cannot be used because Montjuic is also used for concerts, for events, And in May, they're going to start the preparations for those concerts and events. Those concerts and events are usually held in the summer. And starting May, that's when they start preparing the stadium. That's when they start testing, sound testing, light testing, whatever. So it's going to be nearly impossible to go to Montjuic by May. So that means if BSM approves the extension of the contract until the end of April, that's it. Barcelona have to be back at the Camp Nou by the end of April. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem because, again, Montjuic is booked. It's busy. They have concerts, and they're not going to be able to hold our matches. So we'll see if this deadline is real or if they're going to push it anymore. Hopefully not. But here, that's the news. The new return date is now end of April, which, again, is going to be still 60% capacity, which means 60,000 people, with the stadium not being 100% ready until summer of 2026. We'll see if that gets pushed, right? Because if the return got pushed from November all the way to April or May, that's a 7-month push. We'll see if that means that maybe the stadium is not going to be fully complete till 2027. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right, let's get back to the comment section, and then we will talk about Ronald Araujo and Juventus's new offer. All right, let's see. Arnold says, Mo, I'm glad to catch a live podcast since I wasn't able for a while due to my work schedule. Was watching all the videos and podcasts, so thanks for the great work. Thank you, my friend, for watching, and thank you for joining, and thank you for your comment. And we do have a donation from Baby's Comeback, who's always incredibly generous with his donations, who says, what's up, Mo? I had a feeling that Camp Nou was not going to be ready. I quickly canceled and got a refund for my trip to Spain and my Airbnb. Smart. Actually, I go to Barcelona with the U.S. Peñas. Again, if you don't know what a Peña is, it's an official chapter, fan chapter recognized by the club, right? And there's Peñas all over the world. Here in the U.S., we have also Peñas all over the country. I'm part of the New York City Peña, and every year we plan a trip and we go to Barcelona. We have events. We go to the match. We try to go and see the women play. We try to go see, like last year, we saw Barca Athletic play. And this year, the trip is planned for April 20 something. And I had a sense we weren't going to go back either. So I said, no, I'm not going to go this trip because I went last year to Montjuic. It was whatever experience. I mean, I was happy I saw the team play. But the stadium wasn't, it's not that there's something wrong with the stadium, but it's different to go to Barcelona, to the Camp Nou, to watch FC Barcelona versus going to Barcelona to Montjuic to watch Barcelona play, right? You're still happy you're seeing a team, but it's not the same, right? Because it's not the Camp Nou. And the Camp Nou is a special place. It's a coliseum. It's a cathedral of football, and you want to be there, right? You don't want to go watch the Knicks at, I don't know, your local YMCA. You want to watch the Knicks at the Madison Square, right? And it's the same thing for me. I want to see Barcelona at the Camp Nou, not at Montjuic. And we have more donations. Drew Abdullah, thank you, my friend, for your generous donation. Who posted a super sticker again. StreamYard doesn't allow me to see the stickers for some reason, but I am gonna go back and watch the live stream to see what kind of sticker you put on there. So thank you so much for your donation. That's incredibly generous of you. And then Texas Transplant, also with a generous donation, says still on cloud 9 about shoving Madrid down the garbage disposal. Let's face reality, we won't see the inside of Camp Nou until next season. It's looking like it, my friend. It's looking like it. Hopefully not, because again, Montjuic is going to be booked by starting May. So that would be a huge problem for Barcelona, because they're going to have to figure out where to play those last few matches. But hopefully not. But yes, I'm still on cloud 9. By the way, who has watched the highlights from yesterday's match on repeat? Because I've watched the highlights 3-4 times yesterday. I watched them again today. Also, another fun thing you could do if you have some free time, watch the reactions of Madridistas. Big Madridistas who have YouTube channels. That was actually a pretty fun thing to do. I went, watched their reactions, watched their lives, their watch a lot. It was hilarious. So if you got some extra time on your hand, I highly recommended. Now, let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about Ronald Araujo because Juventus, ladies and gentlemen, have upped their offer. Now, by now, I'm sure you're fully aware that Juventus are incredibly interested in signing Ronald Araujo, especially with their two center backs being injured. In fact, Juventus sporting director himself admitted that. And I covered that in yesterday's video where he said that, yes, they are looking at Ronald Araujo and that he hopes to have good news at the beginning of this week. Now, Ronald Araujo has reportedly already told the club through his agent that he wants to leave, and he wants to leave right now in the winter transfer market. And he asked the club to please listen to Juventus's offer. Now, Juventus' first offer was 25 million euros, which, of course, I'm sure Barcelona, when they received it, they laughed their ass off. And then they called Juventus back and said, I don't think so. And as far as responding to Araujo's request to leave, their stance is pretty clear. Araujo's not for sale. He's a very important player. He's key player to this project. So if he leaves, it's going to be A, because he wanted to, not because we wanted to sell him. And B, because he brought us, with his agent, a good offer. And 25 million euros, I'm sorry, but it's not even an offer at this point. It's a joke. Now, what's a good offer? Barcelona want a minimum of 70 million euros. So, what happened new? What's the newest thing to happen? Is that Juventus have upped their offer and they're now offering 50 million euros for Ronald Araujo. That's 5-0. And it's reported that Barcelona are most likely going to reject it as well. Because again, Barcelona stance, Araujo, not for sale. If you want him, you're going to have to pay a minimum of 70. Obviously, 50 million is not 70. Now, before Barcelona respond, they do want to have one final meeting with Ronald Araujo. And at this meeting, John Laporta wants to be present. Because, yes, Araujo has informed the club that he wants to leave, but he's done it through his agent. Right? He calls his agent, hey, let him know I want to leave. Agent calls Deco or whoever, hey, we want to leave. Laporta wants to sit down with Ronald Araujo himself, not his agent, with the player himself. And he wants Araujo to tell him in person to his face, hey, Mr. President, I want to leave. If Laporta hears those words from Araujo in person, then Barcelona will be like, okay, you can leave. But again, it's not going to be on loan. It's not going to be for 25 or even 50 million. It's going to be for 70 million. Now, Juventus are reportedly very confident that they're going to be able to complete this signing. But we'll see what comes out of that meeting because after all, Barcelona, not only they consider Araujo key to the project and consider an important player, is also the problem with the whole Inigo Martinez, right? Inigo Martinez just got injured. He's going to be out 5 weeks. We offload Araujo. That only leaves us with Pau Cubarsí. Andreas Christensen will be back soon, but he's not back yet. And even when he comes back, he's been out for many months. It's going to take him several matches before he gets back into competitive rhythm. So that means that Christensen is not going to be available for quite some time, or at least at his top level, even once he's recovered. So that would leave us with what? Cubarsí and Eric Garcia? I don't know how that sounds. So we'll see what happens in that meeting. We'll see whether Araujo does end up deciding and saying, hey, yes, Laporta, I want to leave. And we'll see whether, Barcelona agree, because Barcelona could technically also block it and say, okay, yeah, you want to leave. That's fine. We're not going to force you, but it's going to have to be in the summer. Barcelona technically could do that because, again, there's a contract, right? Just like when players say, I don't want to leave, I have a contract. The club could technically also say, you want to leave? Too bad. You have a contract. The contract goes both ways. It protects both parties. So technically, Barcelona could block the move and tell them, well, you can leave, but it's not going to be until the summer. Now, of course, there's also a drawback to that because in the summer, now Araujo will have only 1 year left on his contract. So that means his price would go down, right? The less time you have left on your contract, the lower your price gets until eventually obviously reaches zero. And that's when your contract expires. So lots of moving parts here. Juventus $50 million offer, confident they're going to sign. Araujo wants to leave. Barcelona want to hear it first from him. Then they would want to they're okay letting him leave if he says it in person, but then they would want 70 million. But then there's a problem with Inigo Martinez. There's a lot of moving parts here. There's a lot of parts to the puzzle. We'll see what happens. Most likely all this will transpire during this week. So again, stay tuned to the channel because there will be a lot to talk about Ronald Araujo. Now, as far as me, as I've said a million times before, I prefer Araujo not leave. I really like Araujo. I think he's one of the best center backs in Europe. I think he's been phenomenal at Barcelona his whole time. He is, a captain, a leader. People love him in the locker room. All his teammates love him in the locker room. I have nothing bad to say about Araujo. I prefer him not to leave, but if he wants to leave, not much we could do. Now, one thing I will say this, because I've seen this a lot on social media, people going, oh, Araujo the snake, and he's not loyal, and F him. It's like, where's this coming from, guys? The guy wants to leave. He wants to leave. That's his right. Like, why all of a sudden go from we love Araujo as an amazing defender to, oh, he's trash and he's a snake and he's look. You guys forget, this is just a job, just like any other job. Football players are employees and the clubs are their employers. That's it. There's nothing to it. If you want to leave your job tomorrow, does that mean you're a snake and you're disloyal and how dare you not being loyal to your company or your job? No. It's a free market. You get a job, you find someone better, you go get the other better job. That's it. Nothing to it. Let's stop with this hate where you're either with us or you're against us, or we either love you or we hate you. Like, I don't understand where this whole dichotomy has come out of nowhere, where you either team A or team B and anything else, F you. I don't get it. But again, I prefer Araujo to stay. If he wants to leave, that's his right. I'm not going to all of a sudden start shit talking him. Like, let's be a little bit more mature about these things. All right, let's do the comment section. We have another generous donation from Drew, who says, yes. Yesterday was a great day. Barca need consistency to win Champions League and La Liga. I'm hyped up. Indeed, they do need consistency and more in aspect of intensity, right? And focus and taking matches seriously, right? They need to play at their 100% every game, not just against big clubs, not just against in big competitions. They need to do it against small teams too, and mid-table teams. And that's what bit us in the butt, right? We started out the season great. We were full throttle, 100%, thrashing every team, 7-0, 5-0, 4-0, just thrashing after thrashing after thrashing. And then the team started slowing down because they're like, oh, I guess, we don't need to be at our 100% because we're really good. We beat Madrid, Bayern, and Espanyol all in 1 week. And then, they stopped coming out with the same intensity. They would come out against smaller teams like, oh, it's okay. We have time, relaxed. This is a small club. We don't have to sweat it. And we saw that doesn't work, right? This is modern football. Even fourth division teams can cause you problems. And you have to come out against every team with the same intensity that as if you were playing against Real Madrid. And also people check it off to exhaustion. I don't think it was exhaustion or fatigue, because otherwise we would have been doing bad everywhere, and we weren't. We're still with thrashing teams in the Champions League, but it's La Liga where we started doing it. And it was against the weaker teams. And that shows that it was a overconfidence problem, where the team was like, it's Leganés. Who cares? It's Las Palmas. Who cares? It's Rayo. Who cares? It's Real Betis. Who cares, right? Well, it cost us. So hopefully the lesson is learned. And yes, we can maintain the consistency as far as intensity. All right, let's see. Not a fun guy. I'm sure you're a fun guy. Don't do that to yourself. Value yourself. I'm kidding. Says, what left winger you think we could get now? I think it would still be Nico, because he's the most affordable option. Leao now he's talking about staying at AC Milan. And of course, he's going to have a new coach, Sergio Conceição. So now he, because right now he wanted to leave because he hates his coach, right? Paulo Fonseca. He's going to get a new coach. So now he's talking about staying. But even if he wasn't staying, we just cannot afford 120, 150 million. Kvaratskhelia looks like he's renewing. And again, even if he wasn't, that's 80, 90 million for the Georgian. So I think Nico Williams is going to be the only one that we could afford. Araf says, Mo, what price do you think we should be asking Juventus for Araujo? I was thinking, his market value is 55 mil. So I think anything between 60 on the low end, like the lowest I'd go is 60 and 70, maybe 75. But I know people are like 80, 90, 100. And it's like, you can't just throw numbers out there. These numbers have to be based on something, right? I cannot go and try to sell you a Honda Civic for $100,000. It just doesn't work. Nobody's going to pay that, right? You have to be realistic. If the player's market value is 55 mil, you're not going to go asking for 80 and 90. You're going to have to be somewhere around there. So I would say 60 to 70, maybe 60 to 75. I think that's a fair number. Plus, remember, Araujo only has a year and a half left on his contract. And the less time you have left, the less you can demand. So if Araujo had just renewed a season or two ago, I would say, like, yeah, sure, ask for 80 or 90, because that obviously increases the price. But with a year and a half left on your contract, with a market value of 55 mil, you cannot be demanding 80 or 90. But who knows? Maybe a Premier League club comes and is like, hey, here you go, some oil money. Fitzroy says, Mo, I'm 18 minutes late, but better late than never. We've been watching the highlights on repeat all day today. Me too, my friend. Me too. But yes, better late than never. Thank you, my friend, for joining. And thank you for your comment. And now let's do the last bit of news, and we'll do more comments, I promise. But let's do the last bit of news, because one of Netherlands' greatest legends, one of football's greatest legends, and you might know him, or maybe not because he's before your time, Ruud Gullit. I've been told that's how you say it. I always used to think it's Gullit, but someone told me it's actually Gullit. That's how you say it in Dutch. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But Ruud is considered one of the greatest midfielders in history. He played in the 80s, 90s, around there. Dutch midfielder, of course, as you can see, wearing the orange Netherlands jersey. He played for some clubs like Chelsea, Milan, I think Sampdoria, if I'm not mistaken, PSV Eindhoven. He's a legend. Let's just put it that way. I actually never saw him play because before my time, he's before my time. I started watching football in the 2000s. So he was a player in the 80s, 90s. So I was in the 80s, I wasn't born. In the 90s, I was too young to watch football. But a legend of football has had some pretty good, interesting statements about Frenkie de Jong and some advice to the Dutch midfielder, given, with the whole, is he staying? Is he not staying? He's on the bench. He's injured. But with the whole Frenkie de Jong debacle. Now, this is what Ruud Gullit had to say. I hope he finds a solution. Obviously, speaking about Frenkie de Jong, I hope he gets a club that suits him so that he can leave Barca. It's time to look for something else. Which club would be perfect? Bayern. Bayern would be perfect for Frenkie. It would be fantastic for them. I would like de Jong to play football again. He should not sit on the bench. He is 27 years old and in his best years. The situation must change now. There's a lot of noise. That is something normal in the world of soccer, to talk about offers and more with a player who has no minutes. I think the Saudi club should also probe his incorporation because he is a great player. So Ruud pretty much not understanding, why Frenkie de Jong is on the bench, saying, he is excellent player. He's only 27. He's in his prime. He should be playing. Why is he on the bench? And as such, he should probably look to leave. That his advice to Frenkie is to leave. I think Bayern would be the best option, but maybe Saudi clubs could take a look as well, because again, he believes that Frenkie shouldn't be on the bench. Look, here's what I'm gonna say. Ruud Gullit is a football legend. So if he says this, he knows best. So Frenkie, please listen to this legend. He's a legend. He knows what he's talking about. So please listen to him. Take his advice. Go somewhere else. Please. Not because I'm saying so. Not because most Barca fans want you out. Because a legend said it, okay? So please listen to his advice. But I feel the same way, but for opposite reasons. I'm not saying that Frenkie should leave because he's amazing. He shouldn't be a bench. I think he should leave because I'm sick and tired of him. 6 years at Barcelona, he never lived up to the expectations. 6 years of insane salaries, bonuses, all the money that we paid for him. 6 years of nothing. Maybe not nothing, something, but not what we expected and definitely not what we paid for. So, Frenkie, please listen to your compatriot. Listen to Rude, who, again, is an absolute legend because he knows better than any of us who are not football legends. So, please, Frenkie, GTFO. I don't want to curse. I cursed a lot yesterday on the live, so I feel like I'm tapped out on my cursing. But anyways, that is all the news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do comments, and we have another generous donation. Texas Transplant, who says, I really don't want Vinny Jr.'s Uruguayan pocket leaf. Yeah. I mean, look, at this rate, the way the Ballon d'Or winner was playing, I don't even think it matters. I mean, I feel like yesterday we could have been like, we could have just pulled out our right back. Be like, all right, Kunde, you're not playing on the right. You're sitting on the bench. You're not subbed out. Just sit on the bench, take a break. We're leaving the whole right flank just empty. And who was it on the right? Was it Kouarsi? Kouarsi, don't even come out of the box. Just stay in the box. Just leave that right flank empty. Nobody's covering that. And I feel like it still wouldn't have mattered because was Vinicius even on the field? Because I don't remember seeing him. I mean, I remember him getting a yellow because he protested and then stepping on Nahilov. Was it Kunde? Which should have been his second yellow, which would have meant a red card. Not to mention Camavinga's second yellow that never came when he held Lamine Yamal's waist from behind, and that's automatically a yellow, and he already had a yellow. But besides that, I didn't see Vinny. I mean, that's if you were to edit highlights of Vinny, would be pretty much him getting a yellow and then getting another yellow and then an end screen that says thank you for watching. And that was pretty much, I guess, the pass to Mbappe, but that was mostly Mbappe taking the ball all the way, pretty much cooking Balde, cooking Szczesny, and scoring a goal. I'm not gonna hate Mbappe's goal; it's a pretty good goal, but besides that, I didn't see Vinny, so I feel like it doesn't even matter. We could have just kept that side empty. He still would never showed up because Vinny shows up against smaller teams and to run his mouth. That's what he shows up for. But against Barca, all of a sudden, nowhere to be found. Longwinski said, I like that name. I'm thinking he could be using these rumors and Juve's offer to renegotiate his contract with Barca to better levels. It could be. It could be a strategy. But also, I think you start playing with fire if you say, I'm leaving. Right? If you say, I made up my mind, I want to leave and I want to leave now, that's different. Because if you're going to use it for negotiation, you could be like, hey, look, I'm negotiating. Then you just made me a better offer. What do you got to show me? Versus, I made up my mind, I'm leaving, right? That's different because you're playing with fire there. Because then the club could be like, okay. And then you're like, wait. I was just renegotiating. No, you said you're leaving. Bye. I mean, it could be. There's that possibility. But as far as I know, Barcelona have made their best offer and they're just not going to make a better one. Not because they're being assholes about it, because there's no money, right? This is where I can pay you within my financial situation. Accept it or not. Kurt Alexander says, I think Araujo wants regular time, and clearly he can't get that right away because I can't see why he wants to leave at this point. And remember, the World Cup is coming up. According to reports, it's because of money. Because Araujo has wanted more money from Barca. Because when Araujo renewed last time, Barcelona promised him that they were going to increase his salary by a significant amount the next time he renews, right? Because last time Araujo renewed, Barcelona were going through a lot of financial problems. They were much worse off than now. So he agreed to renew with a small bump in his salary, with the promise that Barcelona would renew him again down the road with a much bigger bump. Now, Barcelona have given him a much bigger bump, but he still thinks he deserves more. And Barcelona cannot offer him more because the financial situation. So that's why he wants to leave, at least according to reports. See what comes out of that meeting. And as far as minutes, I mean, look, if you're not willing to fight for your spot, then what are you doing? Kino says, I really hope we keep it for the rest of the season. With Inigo out, we could finally see Araujo Kouarsi pairing under Flick. yeah, I think that would be the more prudent thing. But again, if the player insists on leaving, there's not much you can do. Barca says, I think we shouldn't keep a player who at his prime not confident to compete with a 17-year-old and a 30-plus-year-old to earn minutes. That says everything about his confidence. Again, it's the reports say it's more about money than his confidence about earning a spot. But maybe that does play a part. And you're right. If you're in your prime, you should be confident enough to compete with anyone, not just Inigo, with anyone, right? And if you're not able to compete, then maybe it's not the club for you. Maybe you should go to another club where you can compete for a spot. But I don't think that Araujo doesn't have what it takes to compete. I think Araujo's an incredible center back, and he's earned his starting spot, and now he's lost it, and I'm sure eventually he'll be able to earn it back. Let's see. We do have another generous donation from Drew, who says, you think we go in and get a left winger in our present situation, or will we get one and two players from the academy to help boost our squad to help left wing and right wing? The squad depth is a problem. The squad depth is a problem indeed, because right now we have the best trident in the world. I believe it 100% with Lamine, Lewy, Rafinha. But the problem is nobody to substitute them. God forbid Lamine gets injured, nobody to take his place, or nobody good enough to take his place. I'm not saying as good as Lamine, but at least good, right? Rafinha gets injured, God forbid, same thing. Lewandowski, maybe Pau Victor, but I don't think he's there yet. So you're right. We do have a depth problem, and we do have to reinforce all those three positions, with the wings being the two priorities, especially the left wings. We don't have anyone. But having said that, we do need to reinforce with someone who's experienced, with someone who's already played first division. And we could still get someone from the academy, all right? Because we have zero left wingers. I mean, we have Ansu, but Ansu at this point is non-existent. I mean, both Spanish Super Cup matches, he was on the stands. He wasn't even on the bench. He was in the stands. So we have zero left wingers right now. And of course, you need two. So I'm not saying go out there and sign two. Go out there, sign one, like Nico, and then you can promote Dani from Barca Athletic, and there you have your two wingers, right? You have one who's experienced, who's played first division football, who can, contribute to the team immediately upon his arrival, and then you have Dani, who can start growing and learning and getting first team minutes. So, right wing, that maybe we can bring someone up from the academy, because we have Lamine, right? Left wing, we don't have anyone. So maybe we can bring someone from the academy to compete with Lamine, or to learn from Lamine and be there to substitute him. It could also be Dani, by the way, who can also play on the right. Well, it's good to come up, bring players from the academy, of course. I 100% believe that La Masia is the greatest academy in the world, but you also need some balance, right? You cannot have 11 youngsters from the academy. You need some experience in there. You need to throw in some experience in there to balance the team out. All right, let's see. And by the way, thank you for your multiple donations. That is incredibly, incredibly generous of you. And Rocket says, Kvaratskhelia, Hivica Kvaratskhelia to PSG. Romano said tomorrow he will say here we go. So for Barca, Nico's left, decent price. Son got renewed. Salah will be renewed. And Leao is expensive and gap. Oh, okay. So I guess Kvaratskhelia is going to PSG. I don't know if that's the right move, Kvaratskhelia. What are you doing, bro? Not because I want him to come to Barcelona, but it's because I think any player that goes to PSG is a huge mistake. Because have you guys even heard anything about PSG since Mbappe left? I feel like the world has even forgotten PSG exists. I mean, we had already forgotten that the Ligue 1 existed, but at least we knew there was a team called PSG in that league. But then since Mbappe left, we don't even remember that PSG even exists. And yeah, what are you doing, Kvaratskhelia? What are you doing, my friend? The Matrix says, you know what I hate about De Jong? Majority of the time, he's not trying. Then he showed up and dazzled and nothing for the next few months. We should have sell him 3 years ago. I agree. 100%. Again, he never lived up to his potential. He was always inconsistent. He'll give you like some great matches where you're like, whoa, De Jong from the Ajax is finally here. And then boom, done, disappear. And it's like, okay, maybe he's not here. Yeah, we should have sold him a long time ago. Unathi says, good morning, Mo. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, Matteo Alemani 2 years ago, was it 2 or 3? At the beginning of the Xabi era, Matteo Alemany decides to put Frenkie on the market. And everybody's like, what are you doing? This guy is crazy. Frankie's amazing. And that's when the whole, relationship breaks down between Barca and Frenkie, because Frankie's like, I can't believe you guys try to put me on the market, blah, blah, blah. And I guess we're finding out Matteo Alemany was right this whole time. He was right about Ferran. That was definitely a blunder, but come on. Everybody commits blunders. As far as I know. So when you commit many of them, that's when it becomes a problem. But one every now and then, it's fine. Wanda says, I'm a Juve fan, and I don't know why Araujo wants to join. Juve from Barca, sure, if we're great, Juventus back. This one is very mediocre. I agree. Again, no disrespect to Juve. They're a historical club, an Italian giant. But right now, I don't get it either. Let's see. Oh, what else? Nima, my friend Nima says, have you seen the lip reading video of Lewy recommending Araujo to stay? I have not. I'm not a big on those videos because it's very easy to misinterpret what they're saying. And you can put words, audio to make it match with the lips and make it seem like they're saying that. So I wouldn't look into it too much. I don't really trust those lip reading videos that they do. Buzuki Man says Torre is better than Frenkie, so he goes and Torre can stay and do a great job off the bench, competing with Gavi and Pedri, a perfect situation, and Barca makes a decent money. I don't necessarily think Torre is better than Frenkie. I think they're two different players. Plus, Torre still has a lot to show us. We're not there yet where we can compare, right? Frenkie has played it all at the biggest stages. Pablo Torre hasn't. Pablo Torre shined against UD Barbastro, a 4th division team. Again, I'm not saying that Pablo Torre sucks, but we also have to be fair about our comparisons. You cannot compare a player who has not really done anything or shown us anything or played against in any big competitions against any big opponents to a player that has, right? All right, let's see. One last one. Rocky Winter Master says, bad move for Kivicha in terms of career, but a good one for his wallet. At least he's still in Europe. Frenkie looks like a player now that could accept going to Saudi. Here's the thing about players making moves for money. I think it's fine when you're older and you know your time is coming to an end. So let me just take one big contract, cash out, and then just sail into the sunset. But Kvaratskhelia is still young. I mean, how old is he? 22, 23? I think he's 23. Like, you're too young to be making those kind of moves. I think, a move to, I don't know, Premier League or La Liga, even Bayern, or because I think Bayern had some interest in him for a while. Like a move like that for the next 4 or 5 years, that puts you at 28. Maybe at 28, you can make a move, like a big money move, right? Like PSG or something. Or maybe even later, maybe 30, right? Maybe you can extend your contract or whatever you are for another 2 years until you're 30 and then make that big cash move. But when you're young, I mean, you should be looking to competing at the highest level and making a name out of yourself, winning trophies, building your legacy. Because at the end of the day, we're not talking about, Kvaratskhelia, instead of going to PSG and making 10 million, he went to, I don't know, Bayern and he's making $5 an hour. No. They're still going to pay him. It's not like he's not going to make anything. Saying no to these big contracts doesn't mean you're not going to make anything. You're just going to make a little less. Like, instead of 10 million, he might make 8. You're still making a crap load of money. You still have enough money to live off for the rest of your life if you invest it wisely. So it's not like you're sacrificing a huge amount of pay to say no to big contracts and instead going to a more competitive place. You can still go compete. Again, he's 23. He can compete for the next 7 years at the highest level, still earn a crap load of money, just not as much, but a crap load of money that none of us are going to see in our entire lifetimes, and then go for the really big contract towards the end of your career. But anyways, that's just my opinion. What do I know? I'm not a football player. I am just a random guy who likes to yell at his camera. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, for your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, your incredibly generous donations. I will be uploading another video later tonight with more news. Again, thank you so much for all the support. I will see you in the next video, and as always, Viscarsa.